there's a clear culture, and good experience within those gentlemen there.
Are those the guys that you feel like you hear from the most in the practice? Are those the loud ones?
Yeah.
I saw an interview you did. I was watching. You listed self-driven, motivated, and purposeful. I think you were talking about the Navajo culture, or you're just yourself. But you said those are things my mother taught me. Do you remember that?
Yeah. To have. What do you ask?
It's interesting that your mother would be the one to instill in you those traits.
I just had a really good mother.
What type of personality is she?
What kind of personality?
Yeah, type of person.
Well, she likes art. It makes her very artistic, and she's very purposeful. And she respects herself quite a lot.
How does she instill that in you?
Well, she tells us to, be purposeful in everything we do, have intention in everything we do, because our world is interconnected, interwoven. Everything happens for a reason, I'd argue. So you must move accordingly.
Thanks for your time. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Seth was just telling us what an impact you've had on him and just his life and his outlook and philosophy. Can you talk about anything that you guys did in the past and at your former stop that led to that kind of bonding? And
Seth and I are two good individuals who come from Las Cruces. He's coming in from Oklahoma. That's where he learned, his stuff. I don't want to speak too much about, his, but him and I worked really well together in New Mexico State. We handled our business, but I really like his work ethic. He's a man who has one speed, and it's incredibly fast. You can see it in the way he moves, his demeanor. It's like he craves being more than he actually is, and that transcendence is something I also chase. He's a good example of what work ethic looks like, with being a hard worker and not just working hard. He's a hard worker in that regard. I can't wait to open holes for him, so that he can tow our offense.
Quick question. I've asked everybody this for a little video I'm doing. I know you talked about Tony's, but is there another place in Lexington that you like to eat at?
Tony, Dad's.
They
got some good burgers.
Did you guys go eat there yesterday or something? Because about 10 people have said Dad's.
Yeah, Dad's is kind of our regular spot for us. They've been feeding us really well. They're good people. Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Of course.
been any surprises since you arrived here and have been around for a little while about Kentucky and the school or the city?
Any surprises? I was unfamiliar with the hockey. There's hockey matches that take place at midnight. Yeah, I was unfamiliar with that. That'd have to be a surprise.
Football team has loved that in the past because they fight a lot.
Yeah, hockey is a brutal sport. Very brutal.
Have you ever been on the hockey rink?
No, not particularly, no. Any kind of movement like that, no. I've been rollerblading, which is, close to ice skating, not by a lot, but yeah.
Good at it? Good at rollerblading? You've got a long way to fall.
I did it once as a kid.
Okay.
So that was a long time ago.
How much pride do you have representing Navajo Nation?
Pride.
I can only imagine. Because you're in this sport and there's not a whole lot of people.
Well, I take pride in being who I am, because I am who I am.
Yeah.
I'm recognizing, as I look around, that there isn't a lot of who I am.
Mm-hmm.
I take great pride in that.
Is there an education you're doing? Because all these people aren't like you, that you can educate everyone?
Yeah, the current problem, a lot with okay, it's a lot of it's sheer public ignorance within America that kind of is the main issue a lot of Native American nations go through or whatnot. So being able to be in a position like this with quite a lot of attention, it's unique, for sure.
Have you been able to, I mean, so when we talked in the spring, you were just getting here, but have you been able to find that community more here in Lexington, Kentucky since you got here? I mean, obviously there's not a Navajo community at all really in Lexington, but how do you still celebrate that part and embrace those traditions when you're not around it as much as you are?
I embrace them here with my football comrades. Yeah, they're my community.
Do you feel like you've adjusted well because of that, and that this is your family as well on top of that? I mean, what makes you feel that way?
Well, Kentucky in itself is a community of 4 million people. We, Kentucky football, we are Kentucky, and Kentucky is us in that sense. So that in itself is a community. Back in New Mexico, I was playing for the Aggies, the New Mexico State Aggies. I wore crimson, I took pride in crimson. Here I take pride in blue, royal blue. So
what should we expect from Seth now that he's out here as a guy who played with him all last year at Memphis?
Man, speed. I mean, ferocious intent, tenacity, vigor. I could go on, but expect good things from him. He's a good man, hardworking man.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You guys have a lot of new faces on the O-line. How is that bonding process come along? I would think on the team, cohesiveness is probably as important to the O-line as any spot.
It's incredibly important. We are all coming in from different places. That makes it a melting pot. It's actually been quite fulfilling because everyone is coming from different spots, so it's nice to know everyone's stories. You know, everyone here is rather unique. We operate in our own, each unique way, if that makes sense. But together, obviously.
Does Coach Stoops create a culture like that you feel is a comforting culture that brings you all together like that? I mean, take me through that.
Yeah, he's created a nice community, a group within us. He's clearly dictated his what he wants and expects out of us. So, yeah.
What are those expectations, and are there common goals that you guys have towards the end of the year, or is it more of a day-to-day approach? Kind of what does that look like for this unit?
It's his goals are his goals and ours alone, respectfully. But rest assured, they're progressive steps towards being a dominant physical O-line.
And for this unit, for this team as a whole, what are those expectations for this group? Maybe for yourself also, how you view this team. What can this team accomplish?
What can this team accomplish? That's a big question.
That's why we ask it, baby.
Well, what can we accomplish? Perhaps granting the Wildcat name some respect.
And how so?
By continuing to grow together, come together as a unit, march in a general direction, climb a mountain together. That's how.
Appreciate you.
Yep.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
All right.
Yeah.
Some of the guys are talking about how deep you can get mentally, and that the approach you take and the mentality you take towards sports, towards life. What is it? What's the basis come from?
Like the foundation.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, it's about falling in love with the process, I'd have to say. Being able to find absolute joy in doing the mundane over and over again without expecting any instant gratification, fully knowing, committing yourself, sacrificing yourself to a greater cause, knowing it's for a greater cause. That's what gets me through a lot of stuff, or sets the basis, sets the groundwork that's what it takes. Being good at something isn't attractive. It's dirty, ugly work done in the dark for days, weeks on end. That's what it takes. And then once you know that, once you've wrapped your head around that, everything else kind of is insignificant, if that makes sense. Any issue, any obstacle, you can cut right through.
All of that screams offensive line, does it not?
Yes, offensive line is very, very blue collar, hard hat, lunch pail work. So
The best part about what you've seen here that says this team can bounce back, this team can do what a lot of people outside of this stadium think is difficult. What have you seen out of these guys?
hunger, obviously to put in the work, to see their work pay off, and wanting to crave a deeper sense of community, perhaps. That's an interesting question too. Can you rephrase it, please?
So much revolves around winning.
Yeah.
And last year this team did not win. What tells you this team may be a surprise to those who already are saying they can't do this?
Well, we do have a lot of guys here, a lot of depth, especially within our room, a lot of experience, and a lot of people coming in from different places. It adds a lot of knowledge. It's a big database full of people who, have the tools, the knowledge, have seen the standard, have been a part of it. That's very important. To have all sorts of perspectives, everyone tackling it from different angles, in order to come to a common goal, a common objective.